this is what I truly don't understand about people. How much more manipulation in the market has to happen in front of your fucking eyes before you understand
the game is rigged.
So just sum it up. Basically, what he's going through in that article is that we have a structural supply and demand issue with housing. We just simply do not have enough supply.
Yeah. So I'll summarize it here. We don't target housing prices. So everything they're doing right now isn't to lower housing prices. That's not the point. We don't target the housing market. The housing market is an important part of the economy, but there's a lot of other parts of the economy, and we really have to look at the whole thing. Here's the key. The fundamental issue in the housing market, and this has been an issue in Canada for 10 years at least, is structurally the demand for housing is growing faster than the supply. We've been saying that ever since day one. And so, yes, interest rates go up, the housing market will slow, but it's only going to slow so much because there's sort of a structural shortage of supply relative to demand. I think what you're seeing is that with supply growing less than demand, the housing market has started to tick back up. Housing prices have started to tick back up. He says it twice. That's something we need to take into account in monetary policy, but we're not targeting the housing market. We have one target, CPI inflation.
Perfect. When was that? When was that from?
This week, right?
This week.
Yeah, like right after the announcement.
Right after the announcement?
Yeah.
Can you send that to me?
Yeah.
Like fucking
I
now.
already did.
You already did?
Yeah.
All right. So, very interesting. Now, I'm going to read you something from Twitter from this guy I follow, and a very interesting quote from this guy. Now, this is somebody that I share the exact same sentiment of this particular guy. Actually, we both do. And I reposted it. Let me see here. I just reposted it not too long ago. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
It'd be the funniest thing in the world if rates sank like a stone again and all of those irrational sellers everyone's been whining about who refuse to fire sell end up making a ton of money, while the people who've been whining about them have to watch impotently from the sidelines.
Oh, that's good.
Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Honestly, it's the most likely.
Isn't that hilarious?
In my opinion, it's the most likely situation.
Yeah.
Not that there's not more room to go down, but that they are going to miss the bottom.
100%.
And because
they always miss the bottom. What are you talking about? It's by the time.
Agreed.
Yeah, exactly. By the time anybody thinks the bottom is there, or
it's close or just about to happen.
Exactly. It's when the bottom's been reported, you're fucking too late.
Way too late.
All the data is it's lagging. It's too long. It's way too late. That's why you can't. This guy knows, and this guy comes from again. We're gonna actually have him on the podcast. He agreed to be on the podcast. He's got a pretty big Twitter following. Now
why are we saying that? Because we're real estate permeables? No, because we echo the sentiment of Tiff Macklem'S, the governor of the Bank of Canada, who has no vested interest in saying that we're in a structural supply shortage of housing. Why would he want to say that? Governments don't want to admit that. Almost no level of government wants to admit that there's a housing shortage because they look bad, because they've been in control for 6 years now.
Yep.
So, and he's actually coming out and saying 3 times in that one clip, he says that there's a structural shortage of housing and demand continues to grow faster than supply. Continues. And we talk about how actually the housing crisis is getting worse right now because the builders are all on pause because of nothing pencils.
Yeah.
So no new supplies coming to the market.
Even new fucking apartment buildings don't even make sense.
Bro, yeah, exactly.
Like, it's actually kind of crazy.
Yes. So
actually kind of crazy.
Let's say we were about to close the gap of the shortage by 20% because building was ramping up. That's now down to 5%. Okay, so we've got a 95% gap now because everybody is stopping. Nobody's going to build projects. Purpose-built rentals don't work. Condos don't work. Nothing works. Yeah. Nobody's going to build in this environment. They're actually delaying the housing crisis and making it worse. So, thus, when? We don't know when. It could be 6 months. It could be 12 months. It could be 18 months.
Yeah.
But like he says, when rates drop, whether or not it's like a rock, even a quarter point, a half point, a slow downward trend over 3 or 4 years of rates, the market fundamentals will take over, which is going to be a big pop in real estate prices. Yeah. It's already going up.
Yeah. Basically, what I gather from that quote is that CPI will come down probably close to
We're
2%.
close.
Like we're pretty
close.
fucking close. What was it? 3% last month or whatever it was reported.
Yeah, slightly over 3.
Slightly over
Yeah.
3, and it fucking dipped by a percent or over a percent. How much did it dip the previous month after that? Before that?
I don't know.
Yeah, so whatever. About a percent. So we're pretty close. And what I gather from that, though, is once CPI hits around 2%, the fucking rates are going to start coming down again. Or they're going to pause the rates. What happened last time they paused the rates? Holy fuck, did the market pick up again, right? So obviously the rates... Oh, man. They are causing such a fucking shitstorm with the housing market. It's unreal.
But they're not fixing the fundamental issue. This is what people don't understand.
That's what I'm saying.
This is what people don't understand.
That's what I'm getting at. Is the reason why they're causing such a shitstorm is because of the simple supply constraints that they are manufacturing because of all the red tape, all the fucking fees involved, all of the bullshit zoning and permitting law involved, and everything that they don't care about housing. He says it. They don't care about housing. They care about CPI. Yeah.
Housing is going to continue to rise faster than CPI, in my opinion, on average. Not every year, maybe not this year, maybe not next year, but over the next 20 years, you can print money way faster than you can build houses.
Yeah.
We're short labor. We're set to have like 25% of the construction labor force retire over the next couple of years. There's nobody that wants to do these jobs anymore. The labor's too costly, land's whatever, right? We talk about this stuff all the time. Now, here's what happens when rates go up, right? They go up, the market adjusts, prices come down to match the new levels of affordability, wages go up, they go down, whatever. And at 6, 12, 18 months, at some point, everything balances out and things become normal again, right? At new rates, a new normal, let's call it. Then the fundamentals start to take over. Right, and then the market's prices are down to match new levels of affordability. Now there's one house for every 3 people that can afford it. You've got 3 people bidding on that one house. The price goes up, and then you've got 2 people to bid on the next house. Price goes up, and then 4 new people are bidding on that one house, and there's only one of them. Prices start to tick up higher until that fundamental supply and demand gets fixed, which it never will in this country, folks. It never will get fixed. Okay.
Yeah.
And as long as they keep printing money, as long as they keep giving handouts, as long as they keep doing inflationary things, which is inevitable, folks, look up the monetary system. That's just how it works. Prices will continue to go higher over long periods of time. We do not anticipate the ability to predict 6, 12, 18, or 24-month periods. We predict decades.
This would be... I would completely agree with... I'll just let you fucking...
Thanks.
I would completely agree with the Bears if we did not have a supply and demand issue. I would completely agree with them. Like, it's just simple economics. But supply and demand is a fundamental of economics. It is
the base level of all markets. So that's what everything boils down to that.
We have a very interesting scenario here. No matter what the rates are doing, people can't find homes to buy that they want to live in. Investors can't buy enough real estate that they want to buy right now. So they're overpaying. They're getting into the market regardless. Maybe they're not overpaying, but they will eventually when, FOMO kicks in, which I don't recommend, obviously. But hey, listen, it's going to happen. Rent's going to start ticking up. It's going to make that overpriced investment make sense eventually. Right, so I know plenty of people that are buying investments currently right now because they're just like, fuck it, I'll just wait for the rent to catch up because I have enough capital to take a loss every month, and that's how I'm going to approach this scenario. I'm like,
you can get close.
I can't necessarily argue with them at that. Well, I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm like, yeah, fuck, whatever, man. If you have a lot of money and you're like, and you have a 20 to 30 year outlook on what you're doing here, can't argue it.
I had a conversation with a first time investor and. We were looking at a specific property, one that I'm selling actually, and he was running the numbers. He's like, well, it's like a break even if I add the third ADU, maybe cash flow $400 or $500. So he says,
what property? On what street? I have a house on that. Yeah, on Auburn. I have a house on Auburn. Auburn, yeah.
But back to the point.
I remember seeing that, and I was like, I got a house there.
This is about a break even. Yeah, there's some potential with the ADU. He's like, would you buy this? I'm like, you know what? No, I wouldn't. It doesn't have enough cash flow. Like, somebody will buy it.
Yeah.
100%, because a break even is even hard to find.
Yeah.
And then he says to me, Well, if what you're saying is true, if you predict that when rates start going down, prices are going to go back up, we're kind of going to be stuck in the same point. And then he says you'd almost be better off buying now at a lower price, and then rents and everything else will catch up over 5 to 10 years. And I said, honestly, you are right. I just personally wouldn't do that. I need cash flow off the hop. I just do. But in some people's minds, they understand that this is still probably a better investment than most other asset classes, especially stocks and whatever else. It's still like, with the fundamentals of the Canadian market being so out of whack and such a shortage of supply, just like any other market, folks, there's a shortage of Rolexes, Rolex prices go up. There's a shortage of oil, oil prices go up. There's a shortage of diamonds, diamonds go up. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. And you have the governor of the Bank of Canada coming out and speaking to the supply shortage, which is only getting worse, as we all know. It's actually not a bad idea. We don't recommend it.
No.
And we never will. You'll never catch me go back 3-4 years. We've never once said buy on speculation, buy for appreciation. Not once, and we never will.
No. Yeah.
But you're saying some people might? I bet you a lot of people will.
I have.
It's just not going to be us.
I personally have. I've done that based off of the sentiment of, I know this location, I know this property is going to pop. But that wasn't necessarily that much speculation. It was more like, okay, well, I already see what's happening in the submarket here. I'm basing it off of. Well,
you're also you're an expert level investor. Yeah. You have the income and business acumen to navigate it. If a storm does happen and the property doesn't perform, you're okay.
Yeah.
So we don't recommend it.
No, I would never do. I would never have done that at a newbie level or even intermediate or whatever. For the first. I don't even know, dozens of properties, they all had to make money, and borderline my first couple, even dozen of properties, it was double digit.
So what percentage of your portfolio were you buying on speculation?
So I bought waterfront speculation, local here to Windsor, and I made good on that. I made a couple $100,000 easily on those properties.
The question was, what percentage of your portfolio? 0.5%?
I'm trying to think. I'm thinking out on it.
We don't need specific numbers here.
I'm trying to think, like, purely speculation. Like, if you want to call none, because I know, I knew what was going to happen.
Well, I know.
But what you think that's speculation?
Yeah, it doesn't cash flow, right? That you're speculating. Our definition of speculation is that you're buying something for appreciation.
Okay, fair enough. Okay, so fair enough. Basically, yeah. So less than 1%.
Yeah,
one property.
That's our point.
Maybe 3 properties.
Yeah, out of 250.
Yeah,
or whatever, right? So that's our point. It's not, the strategy isn't go buy stuff on speculation.
Yeah.
You can speculate a little bit, but it's not the strategy.
But I was also planning on building on that lot too. So,
so
you know what I mean? Like,
there's various ways you could
my own principal residence.
Yeah.
So
the context is important. So
yeah, that's
our point. But go back and listen to any of our podcasts. The advice
no. I would never fucking say any. Even if I did it personally myself, it would I would never advise anybody to go out and do it. I don't know where the fuck these people come up with this shit about us. I don't know where it comes from. It's obvious. You know what it is? It's obviously because we post certain things about just like buy real estate, but nobody ever back checks what our actual advice is, right?
The context.
The context of where that's coming from, why we're saying that. Nobody ever checks that out, but that's where it comes from.
Yeah.
What else do you want to talk about? There was something else.
Oh yeah, Tiff Macklem. Somebody asked Tiff Macklem if what the impact of immigration is, and he called immigration a net neutral impact on the economy as a whole.
How do you feel about that?
Nonsense.
Yeah?
Nonsense.
Okay.
Like, why? I understand his explanation, but what he said was it impacts different sectors of the economy differently. So now you have a bunch more employees. It keeps employment inflation down, but then you have excess demand on real estate. So real estate ticks up higher than other areas. It increases demand on electricity and groceries and whatever else, right? Mm-hmm. So it's impacting different levels of the economy. But I think this is an interesting topic because we focus on real estate. I agree.
Yeah.
It's going to have deflationary wage pressure.
When you say nonsense, what do you mean by nonsense?
It's probably not true. I'm not going to be able to verify that it's true or not, right? Like
That it's net neutral?
Yeah, you're telling me that bringing 500,000 people into the country a year at a pace that's undigestible for...
What was his basis for even saying that? What was the context behind... Was he saying that for, like...
What impact is immigration having on inflation?
Okay. And
he says it's a net neutral.
What was the context before? Was there some sort of context in the topic
the rate hike.
Okay, so the rate hike.
Yeah.
Was it kind of related to real estate at all? Was the question asked based on real estate?
I'm not sure. I just saw the response
Okay.
to the question.
Yeah.
I was just whatever.
What's the argument behind? And again, going back to Twitter, I see a lot of people. A lot of people commenting on the fact that a lot of real estate bulls claim immigration is really driving the real estate market, but they're saying that immigration actually isn't driving the real estate market. What's the argument that they're...
It's asinine in my opinion. I don't understand how you could make that argument.
I think that one of the arguments is that long term we're going to be losing more people to old age versus what you can even bring in terms of immigration.
That can't possibly be true.
You don't think so?
No.
I think I've seen a few graphs where they justify that it is accurate, that more people are just going to simply die off in the country than we can actually even bring in.
Okay, then they'll just bring more people in. You know what I'm saying?
That's what I don't understand. Okay, this is what I truly don't understand about people. How much more manipulation in the market has to happen in front of your fucking eyes before you understand
the game is rigged.
The game is rigged.
You cannot predict it.
The people that control the monetary system play you like an absolute fucking puppet. How much more do you have to actually what else has to happen for you to understand that the people that control this will simply move the fucking goalposts right in front of your eyes, and then your graph doesn't make any fucking sense anymore?
What they'll do when the goalposts move, the bears and the people that think they can predict, they just, like you said earlier, well, if it's not going to crash in 2023, then it's going to crash in 2024. And they just keep moving their projections because, okay, well, the government's kicking the can down the road, but they can only kick it down the road for so long. No, in a fiat monetary system, when you can print money at will, you can kick the can down the road for potentially decades or centuries. We're not sure yet. We don't know. Yeah. But it can go on for a very long time. And one of the ways that they manipulate the system is through immigration.
Yeah.
That's one way to... a lot of people say that they're actually like using and abusing immigration, and the immigrants are actually coming here to soak up a flawed monetary system and government system. Mm-hmm. So it's another Band-Aid, right? And then you can't predict the Band-Aids that they're going to pull out there. So
I truly feel that people that refuse to understand and believe this truly do lack the ability to of critical thinking.
It's so true,
and logic for all that. Like, so you see some. I have to imagine that these people are smart, but are they logical? Can you not see through this facade? I don't get it. I don't understand what is it. Is it that it's simply easier for you to believe that our governments and our system isn't manipulated? Is it just an easier world for you to live in? I don't understand what the logic between you not thinking that this happens.
Let me break it down because they're...
I do get it, but...
I used to be this guy.
It's more of a rhetorical question.
No, 100%. Yeah. But here's how it happens.
Scott will break it down. He was a government fucking schleb.
Drone.
The
media is what does it, okay? And I don't know if you've ever seen the TV series... Succession on HBO.
No.
Fantastic.
Is it?
High level business. This super high level guy owns a...
Bro, that fucking... Whoever that is
I know,
fucking...
it's insane.
Is that a client?
I'm not sure. It's a 647 number. He owns a media conglomerate. Basically like a CNN or one of these big networks.
I've heard about this. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really an awesome show. But you see kind of the back end of the system there and why after, he's like 78, he's in bad health, and why hold on to this media company? Why do you care? Just sell it for couple $100 billion, move on with your life. And it's the control. That's why they want it. They can tell people what to think. They can manipulate the stock market.
So obviously someone's controlling him.
No, he's the one.
Oh, he wants
He's
it.
the one in control. But guess what? Guess who he talks to?
Yeah.
The president.
I was going to
and
say.
the politicians. Yeah. And they can manipulate.
Yeah.
I'm doing you a favor, Mr. President. You do this for me, and I'm going to make sure that whenever you're on the news, we're going to give you softball questions.
Yeah.
And it's all this game, and then they filter down from the top what they want people to think. And like you said, when you believe the news and when you believe what you read without critically thinking about it and actually understanding that what they're telling you is not true, most of the case is what they want you to think. Until you break that understanding that it's not truth that they're giving you, and then you start to actually think for yourself. So what we're trying to do here is this is what they're telling us, but let me think about this critically for a second on my own. I'm not going to listen to anybody else.
Critically, you don't even have to fucking be like critical. It's logically.
It takes critical thinking to critique the information that you're being given. That's the
but I feel like this is so logical. Like we if we've learned anything in the last 3 years, is that this is so fucking manipulated, and we all are just pawns in their little fucking Ponzi scheme. That
it is a Ponzi.
Like
scheme
I don't
too.
understand what the fuck else has to be brought up, or shown to you to finally believe this.
It's
like you were coerced into getting an experimental fucking vaccine that nobody knows what the fuck was going on. I was literally just talking to a doctor the other day. And he was just like, I don't know what the fuck it just happened. Like I don't understand what needs to what else needs to fucking happen here for you to finally understand you are absolutely being manipulated and this is all just a big fucking scheme and we are part of. Like, listen, how can I explain this in like layman terms? I almost feel like this is like this is like high school. It's like high school.
Explain.
That's it. You have the teachers dictating whatever the fuck is going on in the school. You have cliques, different people. Maybe it's a bad analogy. Connor, cut that out. But anyways, keep going with your thought. It's so fucking wild.
It's a high level game being manipulated. Everything's political. Everything's controlled
really
and manipulated. But there are there's rules to money. Okay, the rules of the game can change, and they can change the rules of the money temporarily, and they can adjust things, whatever. But the rules of the money are pretty simple. There's going to be inflation. They're going to print more money. It's going to devalue the currency. They're going to continue to grow the population to hide the inflation and all the other issues that we're dealing with. And a growing population is necessary. When you have 2% inflation, everything else better be inflating at 2% too. Right? It just kind of makes sense in that regard. The rules of the money, like in terms of the tax system, are also laid out pretty clearly. They don't change those very often. And if they do, they're in the benefit of the corporations and the big money players. So our point is that there is a game being played. It is massively manipulated, but it's in favor of the people that understand how to play the game. You can actually tilt the rules into your favor. You're not going to be able to control the political climate. You're not going to be able to control whether or not they force vaccination or impose a digital currency on us. You're not going to have any control of that stuff, whether or not they want to push this agenda or that agenda, whatever. But the one thing you can kind of have some control over is the game of money. And the rules there are pretty clear. Take advantage of inflation. Don't get burned by it. Take advantage of the tax code. Start getting write-offs instead of getting employment income where you're getting taxed at 40, 50% with no write-offs, no ability to hide your income or anything like that. You're just in the highest tax bracket. Start putting the rules of the game into your favor. And until you do that, you'll just sit there complaining. You'll be 78 years old on Twitter, still complaining about the system and still waiting for that perfect time to invest and still waiting for that magical moment, wondering what the heck's going on. And I thought it was going to crash in 2024, but here we are in 2040, and I'm still waiting. Because like you said, if the rules were logical and if the rules were set in stone, if they couldn't just print money, if we were on a gold standard, the market would have crashed.
We wouldn't even be in this scenario.
It would have crashed once, and then you can't really crash anymore because you can't manipulate the money. You can't manipulate the game as much. But because they changed the rules of money so much in terms of how much is out in the system, the rules of the parameters of the game are just ever changing, which is why you can't predict it, which is why you'll just keep kicking your prediction.
He who holds the gold changes the rules.
So true, man.
Is it?
He who prints the money now, it's not even gold. Yeah. It's not even hard. There's nothing real about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's it.